Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome. How's everyone doing? Great. Today is the first day of Navratri, is that right? Yeah. Everyone has been meditating since morning, so that's really nice. So today we thought to explore the subject of thoughts. So the topic we have chosen is invest thoughts wisely. Invest thoughts wisely. Right. We all invest, right? We all invest our physical, we say, resources, whether it be our time, our, money, our energy. We first think where we want to invest, and then we invest. Right? So even when we have to open an account in a bank, first we do some research, right? We make sure that this bank will be good, not good. What do we check?
Reliability.
What is reliability? And then what else do we check?
Accessibility.
Accessibility, right? And then we'll also check what is the rate of interest it will give me, right, of my whatever investments I make. Even in, these days, stock markets, everything, we will invest wisely in the company where we feel it will actually, make profit. In the same way, time also, we will invest it wisely. We will first, if there are many activities to do, we'll say, okay, this is a, best use of my time, right? In the same way, our physical energy also, we will first think. And now we say about our thoughts. What is a thought? How do we define a thought? What is a thought? What do we say? What is a thought? संकल्प क्या है? जो सोचते हैं. Where is this thought? मन की रचना है, right? Good. Where is this thought coming from? So we all know we have so many thoughts. They all come, right? So many different directions. We constantly have thoughts, isn't it? In meditation, we try and silence our thoughts, but still we have some thoughts. So where are these thoughts coming from? What is a thought? What will happen if we don't think?
Thoughts are there in the universe.
Thoughts are in the universe. Right. And so a sign of being alive is really to be able to think. Right? Sign of being alive is to be able to think. So we say thought is the energy of consciousness, really. It's the energy of consciousness is thought. Without thought, nothing is possible, right? So we have so many thoughts, like even if we look back, last 1 hour or whatever in this day, we've had so many thoughts. Where are these thoughts generally coming from? So we say one is thoughts coming from the environment, the external. So whatever I'm seeing, I'm thinking about it. Whatever I'm listening, I'm thinking about it. So whatever inputs I'm getting from the external world, one is that. The other is whatever is recorded, right, in my subconscious, right? Sanskar, correct. The sanskars create my thoughts, right? So if I have any whatever sanskars I have, be it of, whatever sanskars, but they are actually creating or influencing the way I think, right? And then the third is the thoughts that come when both of these are silenced. So I have no thoughts coming, means I'm not processing anything that is happening externally. And there is no thoughts from the sanskars. And then it's like as if I have become aligned in the moment. And then the thoughts just come from a very pure place. It's like the place of the soul. That's where, thoughts, and that will be a very simple thought. It won't be a lot of thoughts, a very simple, silent thought. And that's what we are trying to access in meditation, right? That place of truth. And so when we are saying to invest our thoughts, so out of these three, where do we want to invest? So one is whatever is happening on the external in the external world. रश्मि इसको शायद वो मिनिमाइज कर सकते हैं क्या इसमें जाके? Sorry, yeah. So out of these three, where we want to invest our thoughts? Huh? Third category.
Third option.
Third option, right? So we know that the more I think about the external world, whatever is happening or happened, in terms of the role, the character, whatever, is it going to give me any return or not? If I invest my thoughts in that bank,
No.
it doesn't really give me. And we've all experienced that. The more I try to solve problems superficially or an external level, it really doesn't give me much turn. It depletes the energy. And the second bank is whatever is, my subconscious mind projecting, right, on the screen of my mind. So whatever my sanskars are projecting on the screen of my mind. So if I invest there, then is it of any use or no?
No, that is also a bad.
Right. That is also, especially, that's what Baba says, like old sanskars, past sanskars. And so Baba uses two words. One is sansar, other is sanskar. So first bank is sansar, external world. The second bank is sanskar. And so whatever thoughts are coming from sanskar, I'm investing, means I'm then thinking about it. So suppose a sanskar came up of anger. And then suppose something happened, and then I'm processing it a lot in my mind. Why this? Why not this? So is it a wise investment or not a wise investment? It is not a wise investment, right? So really, wise investment is where I need to learn how to distance myself from these two, isn't it? The sansar and the sanskar. And then Baba says that forget old sanskar and remember your original sanskar. So I'm distancing from the old sanskar and connecting with the sanskars of truth, of the soul of God. And then Baba says, instead of feeling the other as sansar, what do you think? Who is the sansar?
Ravan.
Yeah, we've made Ravan our sansar. But Baba says, who is your sansar? Come into Gyan. Who is our sansar? Baba is our sansar.
Our sanskar is Baba. Sansar is Baba.
Baba. Ek Baba sansar hai. So it's like detaching from the external sansar and the old sanskar. That's where our investment is, right? Generally. And then we need to learn how to distance from there and invest in the real sanskar of the soul, and then in thoughts of Baba, and who becomes our sansar. So let's try to see how to do that, and we'll try and have some discussion. It says our thoughts are a form of subtle currency that we use to purchase life events. Where to spend this energy and how much to spend is a lifetime art that comes from awareness and wisdom. The wiser we become, the less we think. The wiser we become, the less we think. Means the first two banks, we won't be having a lot of thoughts. It'll be less and less. And this comes through wisdom. And wisdom, again, and in Sundays, Murli Baba talked about how many treasures Baba talked about? Five treasures, right? And again, how do I access those treasures? Is again turning inwards, right? The treasure of wisdom, right? The treasure of yoga, the treasure of dharana, seva, and then of blessings, right? Dua. All of these, if I see they are at a certain level coming from this inner realm of the soul. So yeah, we say spiritual income, really thoughts of the divine, right? When I think about Baba, think about the self, then I'm earning spiritual income. And spiritual depletion is waste thoughts of the story. Now, we all know that let's say transitioning from good to bad versus transitioning from bad to good. Which one is easier?
Good to bad.
Yeah. Transitioning from good to bad is easier. And that's what generally is true for, on an average, for all the human beings. And there have been a lot of studies around it, that how, like, we may have a lot of positive things happening in our life and around us, but one negative thing, and we will forget all the positive things and remember that one negative thing, and we will keep holding on to it, right? So why does that happen? So in psychology, there is a research around it. Let's watch a little clip and see what we can learn from it.
Okay, so you got a new sweater. It looks great, and you're getting tons of compliments. But then, just one person says something snarky about it. And even though you got all that praise, you can't help but stew over the negative comment. Why is that? Why does our mind seem to dwell on the negative?
A lot of my research focuses on how people tend to get stuck in particular ways of thinking and what enables them to get unstuck.
Allison Ledgerwood is a psychology professor at UC Davis.
I get to study how humans think and how we could maybe think better.
We all know the expression about seeing a glass as half full or half empty. It isn't just what you see, but how you see it. And the way you describe that glass to people can really change how they feel about it. Allison wanted to know what happens when you try to switch your way of thinking from the positive frame to the negative frame, or vice versa. Her research team brought 2 groups of people into the lab and told them about a new surgical procedure. Group 1 was told that the procedure has a 70% success rate. For Group 2, they framed it as a 30% failure rate.
It's the same exact procedure, and they're giving you the exact same information, but one doctor is focusing on the part of the glass that's full, and the other doctor is focusing on the part of the glass that's empty.
So, no surprise, people like the procedure when it's described in positive terms, and they don't like it when you focus on the failure rate. But then, the researchers pointed out to the first group that you could also think of the procedure as failing 30% of the time. Suddenly, people didn't like it anymore. And when they tried a similar thing with Group 2, pointing out that the procedure had a 70% success rate, people didn't change their mind.
And over again in studies like that, we find that people seem to get stuck in the negative way of thinking about it. And it's hard for them to flip and focus on the positive.
So once you frame something negatively, it really sticks.
It makes sense from an evolutionary or functional perspective that our minds are built to look for negative information in the environment and to hold on to it once we find it.
Imagine your prehistoric ancestors. You don't want to forget that there might be a predator lurking around.
In many situations, we want our minds to be grabbed by the negative information so that we can fix problems when they're there.
But then, there are other situations where we want to get over some small imperfection or a bit of bad news when it's not helpful to fixate on the negative. What do we do then?
What I really take away from this research for my own life is that it's difficult to see the upside and that it takes work, literally, that we have to put effort into looking at the bright side of things, that we can't assume that our mind is just going to do that automatically, and that it's very easy to just keep tilting back towards the negatives.
And this is something you can counteract with practice, like spending a few minutes each day thinking about the things you're grateful for. Doing this regularly can help it become a habit. And it turns out that this negative bias can change over time. Remember when you were younger and any bad experience felt like the end of the world?
So this kind of pervasive negativity bias starts to diminish. And so in our research, we find that the stickiness of a negative frame seems to disappear entirely by the time people are in their 70s, and they seem to flow back and forth between negatives and positives much more easily.
So maybe that's something we can all be grateful for, that there are actually some good things about getting older. How do you get out of negative ways of thinking? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to check out our other video all about the teenage brain. Remember
So what it said is that we tend to hold on to the negative more than we tend to hold on to the positive. ये तो उसमें उन्होंने बताया कि एक नया सर्जरी है, वो 70% सक्सेस है, उन्होंने कहा ठीक है कराएंगे, और एक को कहा 30% फेलियर है, तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं कराएंगे। अभी 70% वालों को बाद में कहा कि 30% फेल भी हो सकता है, कहते रहने दो, और 30% फेल वालों को 70% अच्छा भी हो सकता है, बोले कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, मतलब they didn't accept, उन्होंने कहा नहीं 30% तो फेलियर है। मतलब we tend to hold on to the negative more than the positive. That's the way a human mind at the end of the Iron Age thinks. Right? That's how it is. And no wonder why, if we really look at our spiritual life, every day we make the same effort, right? But we have to do it over and over again. Although it takes effort to see the positive. So it's not like one fine day everything is fine. No, it actually have to build a sanskar over and over again. So it's a marathon. It's not like Just that's why Baba says not going to your auntie's home. It takes time, right? And that's why Baba will say कि जैसे संडे को भी ना मैं कौन बार बार याद करो before you do something. Remember who are you? Remember who are you? Why? Because it's not it's not our default consciousness. It has not become our sanskar yet. And so that's where it is so important to realize that we need effort. We need. Now the question is how to make that effort very easy and not feel like an effort also. And something that we can actually, do it very easily also, right? So what is that effort? Let's look at that. I mean, these things we all know, but this is just, again, a reminder, different ways that Baba teaches us. And so the first aspect that Baba always talks about, first step of spirituality is, what is the first step in the effort? What is the first step? Atma samajhna and? Correct. And before that, what is the first step? Even before apne ko Atma samajhna, what is the first step? Which will help us. Yeah. Ah. Right. So Baba says, देह और देह के संबंधों को भूल अपने को आत्मा समझ मुझे याद कर. So what is the first step?
भुलाना.
देह और देह के संबंधों को भूल यानी न्यारा होना, डिटैच होना. Detach होना. So really if we see the first step, and sometimes I feel this first step is seldom not given that importance. But if we don't do it properly, then the second and third actually become difficult. So the first step actually is detachment. Detachment from what? And if we think about it, it's actually detachment from body and today's topic, detachment from? Yes. Thoughts. Detachment from thoughts. It's very important. Detachment from thoughts. Right? I'm getting so many thoughts, this, that, right? During the day. But I have to tell myself, whatever the thoughts are telling me is not true. I am not my thoughts. Like, like this example, right? Whatever the thoughts or the mood swings, whatever it is telling me, it is not true. So I am not my thoughts. You are not your thoughts, right? And so one important aspect is in spiritual effort is we say the noticing switch. The noticing switch. I notice where my thoughts are taking me. And then I distance from my thoughts. Let's look at one example. Right? So this is a simple example. So on the left, the thought is coming, I am a hopeless case. Anyone got this thought before? I am a hopeless case. किसी को आया ऐसा विचार कभी? आते रहता होगा नहीं, सबको आता है. I am a hopeless case, right? तो कई बार बाबा मुरली में बहुत सारी बातें बताते हैं, we feel अरे मुझसे तो हो नहीं रहा. I am a hopeless case. So how do I distance from that thought? So I turn the noticing switch on and I say, I am noticing that a thought is arising that says, I am a hopeless case. So I'm not, I'm distancing away from it, right? So rather than thinking I'm a hopeless case, I'm trying to detach myself. I'm saying I am noticing that a thought is arising and that thought is saying I'm a hopeless case, right? So I am not my thoughts. I have detached from my thoughts. So I'm observing my thoughts. And that's where,
Vishta.
huh?
Vishta.
Vishta,
Vishta.
Drishta, correct. Drishta,
Vishta.
Drishta, correct. I'm observing.
Hmm.
I'm observing neutrally. I'm not into it. I'm observing, right? I'm observing, right? So another way to look at it is seeing the world from thoughts versus observing thoughts from a distance. So person A is thinking I am a loser. So all the person A can see is this thought. It takes over his entire visual and perceptual field. So constantly वही सोच रहा है, I am a loser, I am a loser, I am a loser. So this is I am seeing from the world of thoughts. Right? The other the option is person B. In contrast, person B has some distance from this thought. He can notice this thought, but can also see the sun setting and the flowers by his side. है ना? So थोड़ा distance करके फिर देख रहे भले he is aware of it, but he knows it is just a thought. It's just a thought. He's aware to a larger reality, and within this, okay, there might be a thought, but he's not that. Does it? Right? Yeah. Yeah. So I am distancing from all the thoughts of sansar and sanskar. Right? That's what it is. It spins the mind, right? The sansar and sanskar. Right? And so, again, these are again a few examples, right, where instead of getting all consumed by the problem, I'm aware of everything else. And then even aware of the problem, but from a distance. So it doesn't occupy the whole mental space. So he's washing dishes, right? He's all these thoughts he's having, but he's saying that's okay, it's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. Right. And once I distance myself from the thoughts, then I actually begin to just observe. Right. And that's when I begin to develop that, just noticing a deeper reality, being aware of a deeper reality, rather than just the superficial reality. Right? And that's why they say, like, observation, the ability to observe without evaluating, is the highest form of intelligence. You know who are the best observers? Who are the best observers? Babies, children. Isn't it? They don't think much. They observe. And because they observe so well, they learn so fast. Right? Right? Right. And that's where, like, the more we just don't spend a lot of time in thinking, but in observing. That's why Dadi Janki always used to say, don't think. So what she's implying is just observe. Just be, just observe. Don't think. Don't go into thoughts. Just observe. Right. So this very easily takes our mind, because when we are in that space of observation, like an awakening and enlightenment happens. So it says, to acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. Right? So to acquire knowledge, I'm studying, but to acquire wisdom, I'm just observing. And again, in meditation, that's what we are learning, right? So when we are taking our mind away from this drama world, We're actually just distancing and then we're observing. We're observing. Mhm. Mm. 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 And in observation, a lot of deep insights come. In observation, then I can actually experience Baba's presence, God's presence. Otherwise, it's sometimes, we'll have this thought, oh, was it my thought? What was it Baba's thought? Right? We have these questions because we're still in the thinking space. But once I'm in the observing space, then just one thought. There are no two thoughts. And that thought is emerging from the space of truth. Of course, that's where Baba is. That's where the soul is. That's where the clarity is. Mhm. Mhm. And that's where if we see that ego is trying to keep us in which space? Thinking or observing? Thinking. Right? So ego is constantly what is the ego? Narrator. Narrator. जैसे हम कोई, if we take part in a play, so in a play there is always a narrator that narrates. This is happening, this is happening, this is because of this, that is happening because of that. And if we look at our inner world, there is someone who is narrating. ये ऐसा हुआ, ये ऐसा हुआ, ऐसा ठीक नहीं है, वैसा ठीक नहीं है, ऐसा क्यों हुआ, ऐसा कब, all those. So whose voice is that? Ego. Ego. Because once I observe, I don't start to create any, I don't process, I don't judge, right? In soul consciousness, nothing of that happens. So all of that is happening is actually ego is driving it. And in Hindi, what does Baba say? Ego is ahankar and dehe abhiman. Dehe abhiman. So every Murli Baba says, देह अभिमान का मैं या आत्मा का real मैं. So thinking, the more I'm in thinking, which abhiman I'm in? Deha abhiman. Which means I'm processing the story, I'm processing the events. So either I'm in sansar or sanskar. Right? That's what I'm processing. And in silence, when I just realize, oh, these are just thoughts, this is just temporary, this is just story, this is not reality. Then when I observe, I then experience silence. Silence just means no thoughts of the sansar or sanskar. That is silence. So I'm silent inside, and then solutions come. So let's watch a little story on this.
The Power of Silence story. Once, there was a rich farmer who was working on his farm. During his work, he lost the watch which he was wearing. The watch will be simple for everyone, but for that farmer, it is most precious. He left his work, and started to search for the watch. The farmer was old, so he searches for a while, and sat beside to take a rest. Then, he saw some children were playing outside his farm, so he decided to call them. The old farmer opened the gate of the farm, and asked the children to help him find the watch. In return, they will get a wonderful gift, so they entered the farm and started searching for the watch. All children started their search on the whole farm, and tried their best to find the watch. The sun was setting, and the children were giving up. The number of children was decreasing because as they were feeling tired, they give up. In the evening, Farmer announced to the remaining children to go home. The farmer was sad as he didn't find his watch. When he was shutting the door, a boy came and asked the farmer to search the watch. The farmer didn't lose the chance to find the watch, so he gave the boy permission. After a while, the boy came back with the watch in his hand. The farmer was so happy that he hugged the boy and promised to reward him. The farmer asked, "How did you get the watch?"
So what is the answer? What is the answer? Yes.
You put
So
it
good.
into silence so you can hear.
Silence.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Right. Mhm. Yes, everyone is understanding the story, right? So he lost his watch and no one is able to find it. And then one boy comes, he said, "I'll find it." He comes with the watch. So the farmer says, "What did you do?" So he will say,
The boy said, "As there was no one on the farm, so I sat down and focused to listen to the tickling of the watch. In silence, it was easier to listen to the sound of the watch than in daytime, when everyone was busy searching the watch." Moral story: the quieter you become, the more you can listen. Being silent allows us to channel our energies. It gives us the clarity we need to calmly face challenges and uncertainty. The hour of silence I practice each morning, and encourage you to practice as well, can be a time for collecting our thoughts, training our minds, and deciding how we want to enter into the day. Thanks for spending your time at Growth Partner.
simple story, but I feel it's quite, relevant to our life, right? So what do we learn from this? We learn from this?
The more silent you are, the more you can catch positive thoughts.
Yes. The more silent we are, the more we distance ourselves from our thoughts, then automatically we experience silence. And when we we're investing a lot of time in fixing things externally. So now we're investing more time in silence. And then automatically we are getting the solution, the answer. Right. And when we talk about, even Baba talks about purity. What is purity? Purity is having less and less thoughts about sansar and sanskar. That's what purity is. Yeah. So the more pure I am, the less thoughts I will have, really. And the sign of impurity is that I will have more thoughts. That's a sign of impurity. And that's why Baba says, what is the practice? Baba says that allows us to become more and more pure. The practice is
Just remember the one.
again, soul consciousness is the practice. Again, we say 3 steps. Step 1 is I create a distance between the thoughts and myself. And then I realize who I really am. Who I really am, not what the ego is telling me. Right? Ego is constantly telling me, you are like this, you are like this, you are like this. Or this one said this, so you're like this. This one feels this about, so you're like this. So that is a narrator, is narrating. Right? I'll say, no, that's all thoughts, that's all ego. That's not who I am. And I am this, what Baba is telling me every day, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. Based on the truth of the soul, this is who I am, a pure soul. And then actually the third step happens automatically. The third step, connection to God, happens automatically. We don't have to make any effort for that, really. The more I detach, and then, so what happened is, like, in ignorance, we started to do the third step first. God, 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 come help me. God, 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 come do this for me. Right? But that's how we started to connect. But then actually connection or experience of God comes very naturally once we do the first step and the second step properly. Because then it's very easy to then, just experience. So there's a nice quote about this. It says, a pure soul is like a clear blue sky. We may not notice its existence, but it allows sunshine to pour on the earth. A pure soul is like a clear blue sky. You may not notice its existence, but it allows sunshine to pour on the earth. So if the sky is not clear, what is there in the sky? The other side is, if the sky is not clear, means what is it?
Cloudy.
Cloudy. So cloudy means the thoughts of sansar and sanskaras are cloudy, right? So when there is nothing of that, it's very clean, clear. So you may not notice its existence, but it allows the sunshine. And who is the sun? God. And then I begin to experience the presence of the sun automatically, without any effort. It becomes very natural experience of being with the one. Mhm. Mhm. Just maybe share a few thoughts. And if you really see what Baba says is, Baba uses the word, Baba doesn't use the word socho. Does Baba use the word socho? अपने आप को आत्मा सोचो या मेरे बारे में सोचो नहीं. What does Baba say? मुझे याद करो. So Baba says, don't think, remember. Because when I'm going into thinking, I'm not remembering. So when I've silenced myself from the sansar and sanskar, then I'm, in my reality, then I begin to remember. As if layers are uncovering. I'm remembering who I am, where I've come from, since how long, what is my truth, who do I really belong to, who is my constant companion, right? And then the soul begins to remember. So we say, don't think, just remember. Don't think, just remember. That's why Baba says, अपने आप को आत्मा समझो. सोचो भी नहीं, समझो. Means use your divine intellect now. So use wisdom to detach, samjho, and then remember, yaad karo. Remember me. Right? So says too many thoughts block energy from Baba. So I have too many thoughts, clouds. It doesn't allow the energy from Baba to come, enter me. Right? All vices are too many thoughts. So good definition of any vice is too many thoughts. Right? Right. So if I just master the art of just detaching from my thoughts, I can easily get detached from the vices. It's anger. What is anger? Too many thoughts. This. Too many thoughts. Attachment. Too many thoughts. Desires. Too many thoughts. So it's just an indication. So what do I have to switch on from today's the noticing switch? So I notice. I just notice that these are thoughts. These are not truth. And then I distance myself from it. It's interesting. It says you can't think too much about the soul. The soul story is so simple. You can just be it. The story of the role is too complicated, so you need to think a lot. Right? इतना कहानी ये हुआ फिर ये हुआ फिर मैं ऐसा था फिर मेरे साथ ये हुआ फिर वो हुआ फिर ऐसे हुआ फिर वैसे हुआ. It is all going into the role. But if you think about the soul, it's very simple. What is the story of the soul? We were once in our home of light with God, right? Without any burdens, right? We were just there in absolute stillness. And then we came down here to play our part, took many, many births, many, many roles. Now here, and now we have realized who we are. And now we're preparing to. That's what the soul story is. It is so simple. Don't need to think a lot. When I remember, then thoughts come from above. Means that I don't think too much about what is happening, what is going to happen. But when I remember, then Baba will touch. Then God is touching me. Baba doesn't think, he just is. So all the murlis that we listen, right? So does Baba plan? Okay, today I have to share all this murli. First line will be this. Okay, how do I plan? Which line will come first? Which line will go next? No. He just is. And he just shares. And that's why we all can relate to it in our every little way, right? And throughout the world, even a child can relate to it, a new person, everyone can relate to it. Why? Because he's not sharing from any thinking about the story. It's just revealing himself. It just is. And how he sees the truth. Right? Then what to remember, how to remember, when to remember, why to remember, means, it's like during the process of detachment, then when I, instead of asking questions about the story, I can ask the questions about, about myself and about God. And that's where I can go within and, ask these questions. It says, remember, it's become a member again. Right? So when I remember, I become a member of, again, God's family, right? Means I allow myself to be in the company of God. And why Baba says it's a second? Always says it's a second. Second ki baat hai. Second ki baat hai. Why? Nishchay, right? Because it doesn't take a long time. It's just a game of a second. In a second, I realize, I detach, I am, and then I experience Baba. And so it says, don't do meditation, just meditate. Because again, doing is, that's why we say, like thinking is all about, I'm thinking about what to do, what to do, what to do. No, don't do. Just meditate. Because I can actually start planning a lot about doing. Right? That is also taking me to the, Okay, so I'm not investing in doing. Says create a day or two in a week to just be. Be. Be yourself. Not to do yourself, not to think yourself, just to be yourself. Just to be. Mhm. Mhm. And that's what we say, bhakti. What is bhakti? Is we are taking time just to silence everything, just to be. Mhm. Another thought that helps is I am on vacation. Right? So when we go on vacation, we go with the thought, I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to enjoy the nature, going to enjoy my family, my friends, eat good food. Right? That's what we say, right? That's what vacation is I'm just enjoying. Right? And so this is just a thought. We all know that story, right? The person who is on, right? Who knows that story, right? That so a fisherman, right? He's just relaxing, and this person go, oh, why am I relaxing? I have to do so much. And he says, okay, what will you do? Okay, what should I do? He said, no, catch more fish, become a bigger fisherman, have, increase your business, do this, do that. So then you can relax and enjoy. So that's what I'm doing now. So it's just a thought. So as a soul, we're all on vacation. So this drama, this is not our home, right? So which means that we have come here on vacation. तो हम छुट्टी मनाने आए हैं. तो इसलिए हमें बहुत सोचने की जरूरत नहीं. So when I'm on vacation, my constant thought process is, let me just enjoy. Whatever happens, let me just enjoy. Because I'm here for a short time. Why to, take things a lot seriously, right? Mhm. Murli takes us from doing to being on a daily basis. That's what so the purpose of the Murli is this. Of course, there's so many points we remember, but the real purpose is so that it allows us to shift our awareness from the doing or the thinking world to just be ourselves. And Baba will give so many different, ways so that we can do that. Is action consciousness or actor consciousness? I can easily be in action consciousness. I'm thinking about what to do, how much time is left. I've not done this task. There's not action, but actor. I'm the actor. I'm the actor. And that's what Baba said. No, was it this Sunday or last Sunday is more like that. Nirakari sthiti se, what do you remember? Huh? When you are in the Nirakari, then you remember that you are entering this, right? Sakar and Sakari, Nirakari and कर्मेंद्रियों से हम क्या करा रहे हैं? कर्म करा रहे हैं. We are making our, means we are Karavanar. That's what Baba said. So I'm making these sense organs work. Let's take a moment. It's traffic control. Mhm. So this is how, we say, what effort did Brahma Baba make? This is what actually was constantly, we say Nirakari, Nirvikari, Nirahinkari. It's actually this going deeper and deeper. We say drama is in this moment only. So we don't need to think. I'm just in this. What is life? This moment. That's it. So I don't need to think. Just be. Just remember. Cha. Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Cha. Just open up. Anyone would like to share? And, we have few angels here. Wanna share what we'll take from today's.
I think the key learning for me is importance of silence,
Mm.
and how you always connecting with Baba, but you have so much of clarity about yourself.
Mm.
So the focus is going to be detaching from the person. Silence. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. अच्छा कुछ बोले ओम शांति ये बाबा केवल मुझे बोलते हैं कि मुझे याद करो तो तुम्हारा सोचने का काम मैं करूँ तुम्हें सोचने की जरूरत नहीं पड़े वैसे जब काम करो और अभ्यास ये करना काम करके वापस चले जाना है तो रास्ते वो बताएगा तरीका वो बताएगा सब कुछ ओम शांति थैंक यू Welcome back, Vishal Bhai. He was in India. Came back. Welcome.
ये छोटे से सुनने साइलेंस कोई नहीं. That's the audience speaks. Bold by wide and hard one. I feel the desire to not be that. That's the piece that you want to keep working in us.
Okay. Welcome. Everyone is in silence. Anyone from Zoom would like to share?
So a very good talk. But as we all know, it's like sometimes what I experience is doing meditation, it becomes very quiet, right? And then again, when we start the worldly activities, again it starts, and then you get sucked in.
True.
So I know you have traffic control every hour, 5 minutes. I know that. But what are the other techniques? I mean, I know you talked about other techniques too, like remembering and all those things. But what are the practical things where you are like 24/7 in silence? Because what happens, what I've experienced is I go back and forth, you know. So
Oh, we're all in the same boat, so it happens to all of us. So the moment we, go into the field of action, we're all sucked in. That's so true. And everyone has their own ways, right? Anyone wants to share? What? Oh, no, I think I'm on mute here. No, sorry. Anyone wants to share? Anything that helps? I'll just say for me, what helps is one way it's like integrating it with little small actions. Like, we often take a break, even if we are working, we'll take a 5-minute break, just walk around, take a cup of, coffee, water, whatever. So I'll just say that is my break time. So that is to detach and just be myself. Or when I'm, driving is a good time for me to disconnect. So integrating it with some actions, or, especially when we are talking to people, that is also a good time to practice. So just taking some different actions and then integrating this awareness, basically. Mhm. Anyone else wants to share? Mhm.
इतने पुराने संस्कार हैं सौरभ भाई, इट टेक्स टाइम टू, जब बिल्ड अप होने में इतने साल लगे हैं तो गेट रिड ऑफ हिम इट विल टेक इवन लॉन्गर. जैसे आपने कहा, नेगेटिविटी स्टे लॉन्गर विद अस देन द पॉजिटिविटी.
Yeah, true. Right, right. And that's why it's important to be patient on this journey, and not to have a lot of ambitions also. Sometimes I feel just enjoying the moment, enjoying the day is more important than, looking at the end result, right? Because again, another way to look at it is, it's like, when we say now we are moving towards electric cars, but right, like the fuel is needed for the car to run. Without fuel, I can't run the car, right? What is fuel? Where is it extracted from? What is it? It is all garbage, isn't it? Like from the bottom of the ocean, it's been staying there for a long, long time. It's complete garbage, if we really look at it that way. But that has so much potential, and we have converted it so that we are able to use it. So our old sanskars are also what are they? Garbage. But actually, they are the fuel. Suppose if there is no old sanskar, then we don't have any reason to connect to Baba also. Right? That's why in Satyug, is there Baba or no Baba? Satyug, no God consciousness, because we don't need God. So now, at least because of our flaws or weaknesses, we need God. So it's actually good. We should be grateful to our weaknesses and sanskars. Because of them, we are recognizing God, coming closer to God. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any reason, right? Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Great. Any other thoughts?
बाबा का ज्ञान व्यर्थ से बचाता है.
बाबा का ज्ञान व्यर्थ से बचाता है, right? That's true. That's true. Mhm. Mhm. That's true. Right. Mhm.
भगवान काफी कर्म करो तो
Mhm.
मुझे याद करो.
Mhm.
कर्म में भी मुझे अगर साथ रखोगे
Mhm. जी.
तो कभी बाबा की याद में कर्म व्यर्थ से बचे रहेंगे.
बिल्कुल.
वैसे क्योंकि वही थॉट चलते हैं बाबा का ज्ञान है. सोल कॉन्शियस में रहेंगे, मैं आत्मा हूँ, रावण आ रहे बाबा और मैं कर रही हूँ.
Right.
कर्म इंद्रियों से मैं कर रही हूँ. बाबा का ABCD पूरा जो ये ज्ञान बाबा ने दिया है इस संसार में बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिकल है कि हम व्यर्थ से बचते हैं. बहुत बचा, बहुत. यही और हमारी एनर्जी जो सोल बर्निंग आत्मा में बैटरी चार्ज होनी है, इसी से बैटरी हमारी चार्ज होती है. ये सब शक्ति आज देवी माँ है कि मैं शिव शक्ति हूँ. या हमारी आत्मा की शक्ति कैसे बढ़ रही है. व्यर्थ जितना हमारा नहीं चलेगा, बाबा की याद में रहेंगे, उतनी हमारी शक्ति बढ़ेंगे. और हमें वही चैतन्य शक्ति, क्योंकि हमारी सब जगह यूज होगी. लाइट फैलेगी हमारे से ही फैलेगी, क्योंकि व्यर्थ बच रहा है. व्यर्थ में ये सोल, क्योंकि जितना हम बाबा को याद करेंगे, सोल कॉन्शियस में रहेंगे. अगर देहभान में है तो व्यर्थ में है, लेकिन बाबा ही बार बार बचाता है. जो बाबा ने कहा कि तुम मेरी याद में रहोगे तो मैं तुम्हारे सोचने का काम भी
मैं करूँगा. True. Nice. Thanks. Thank you. Sure. Great. Any other final thoughts? Anyone?
मेरे विचार और सेंसेस से, जो सेंसेस कहती हैं, वो ये कहती है कि यदि अगर मैं ये सांस ले रहा हूं और उसके साथ मैं अपनी साइलेंस को महसूस कर रहा हूं, तो मेरे विचार में उस सांस के साथ जो साइलेंस आप बना रहे हैं वो ट्रू सेंस ऑफ साइलेंस नहीं है. साइलेंस बनेगा एक सांस के साथ जो आया और जो आपको साइलेंस की अनुभूति हुई, और दूसरे खत्म होने के बाद दूसरी जब आपने शुरुआत की, इस दोनों के बीच में जो आपका गैप होगा, दैट्स ए ट्रू, वी कैन से ए बिट ऑफ साइलेंस, प्योरिफाइड. बहुत अजीब लगता है साइलेंस. कोई सांस के साथ जाता है, वो कहता है हाँ मैं शांति महसूस कर रहा हूँ, मैं साइलेंस महसूस कर रहा हूँ, बट आई डजंट थिंक सो. हर सांस, मैं सांस के साथ लेके मैं अपने आप को साइलेंस महसूस कर रहा हूँ, तो साइलेंस किस बात का? यदि मैं सांस का साथ ले रहा हूँ या मैं किसी का साथ ले रहा हूँ कि शिव परमात्मा मेरे साथ है, विचार ले रहा हूँ, उस विचार के साथ मैं अपने आप को महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि साइलेंस है. मेरे विचार में वहां पे साइलेंस जो है ना, दो विचारों के बीच में, क्योंकि देखिए विचार तो एक प्रकृति का हिस्सा है, इनबिल्ट है, नोबडी कैन अवॉइड, कोई नहीं कर सकता. लेकिन एक का खत्म होना और दूसरे का शुरू होने के बीच में अगर कोई एक्चुअली फील करे, वहां पे एक बहुत क्षणिक मोमेंट होता है. वहां से जो साइलेंस निकल के आता है और उसी को प्रोलॉन्ग है, उसी की जितनी ज्यादा आप वाइडन करेंगे, और ये तब हो सकता है जब आप दृष्टा बन के देखते हैं. उछल कूद हो रही है, उछल कूद होगी, जो उसे फेस कर जाएगा, क्योंकि हर के साथ कुछ भी ना सोचो, तो प्लस होगा और नेगेटिव होगा तो सही. जब उन दोनों में ना आपने प्लस सोचा ना आपने नेगेटिव सोचा, और जब वहीं पे शांति से बैठे रहे, और उसके बीच में जो अनुभूति है वहीं पे साइलेंस जो है ना, बस ईश्वर की तरफ से इतना ही समझ में आती है. लेकिन ये संसार वाकई में इतना गड़बड़ है कि दृष्टा का कंसेप्ट आज 5 साल 10 साल पहले था, और मेरे को सन 75 में किसी ने समझाया कि आपने ये गलती की थी. अगर आप उस दृष्टा भाव से देख लेते तो सब कुछ एफर्ट्स बड़ी है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है. हर पर्सन टू पर्सन एक परसेप्शन है साइलेंस की, हर इंसान के अंदर, और बहुत लंबा है, बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस है, और नोबडी कैन से कि हाँ मेरे को हो गया. नोबडी कैन से. हाँ पाथ के ऊपर चल रहे हैं, चलने तो चलता है, उतार चढ़ाव आएंगे.
True. It's about enjoying the journey.
वास्तविकता जिंदगी की एक ही है. हर इंसान अपने आप मन को टटोले, अपने आप को टटोले, अपने आप को जाने. कुछ होता है ऊपर से, कभी होता है, कोई अनहोनी होती है. जैसे पिताजी एक्सपायर हुए थे विद पैसेज ऑफ टाइम, अनएक्सपेक्टेड हुए, वो एक हादसा हो गया मेरे जीवन का. मेरे साथ ऑपरेट हुआ तो हुआ. 2 बचपन में एक चोट लग गई तो लग गई. एक बार एक हादसा हुआ कि मैं बैठे बैठे बाहर को चला गया मोटरसाइकिल का पंचर लगवाने के लिए. सेकंडों के अंदर बहुत बारिश, अंधड़, और जो टीन के शेड के अंदर मैं अंदर घुसा हुआ और उसके अंदर करंट आ गया। मेरा मात्र कहना ये है कि ऊपर की तरफ से जो घटनाएं होती है, जो विचलित कर सकती है, जो आपके साइलेंस को ब्रेक कर सकती है, वो मात्र गिनी चुनी होती है। लेकिन उन गिनी चुनी के अलावा बहुत सारी घटनाओं को हम ऐसी इमेजनरी बना बना कर अपने साइलेंस को करा करते हैं। दिस इज अनफॉर्चुनेट। जो होना है वो तो होगा और ऐसे ही घटित हो जाएगा, कुछ भी नहीं पता। लेकिन हम अपना व्यर्थ में ऐसा ना हो जाए, यूं ना हो जाए इसने कुछ शब्द ठीक नहीं कहे, बस अपनी साइलेंस को कर लिया, खराब कर लिया तो कर।
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Sure, great. Sure. So thank you, everyone. Have a nice rest of the evening. Om Shanti. Thank you. Shanti.